of all, I would like to thank GSTS for giving me this opportunity. Along with, I would like to thank Dr. Manish Karwar sir and our guest of honor, Dr. Chandni Tiwari ma'am, and other esteemed guests, honorable teachers, and all enthusiastic spectators. Today, I'm Manita Pandey, graduated from Lady Shri College in History and Sociology, and currently pursuing my post-graduation in History from Delhi University. Today, I will be talking about nationalism by various scholars. One nation belongs to many people, and it is the most important fundamental things to define the people, even if you don't acknowledge it. There is no political and social force stronger than the great nation and its identity. But the question is it a natural allegiance that we define a geographical area or cultural closeness, or is it a result of political motivation? How so many people eventually started identifying themselves with unity, even being divided on various lines. So today, we are not only focusing over the historical reference, the development of nationalism, but also we are going to surface the Indian idea of nationalism, as well as the contemporary digitalization and the impact of it over nationalism. So my objective of today's presentation is, first, I will be focusing over a general definition of nationalism and nation state. Then the initial work over nationalism, that is primordialism. Then we will be focusing over our three major scholars who work over nationalism, that is Benedict Anderson, focusing over his work Imagined Community, Eric Hobsbawm, his work Invented Tradition, Ernest Gellner and his work Nation and Nationalism. Then I will be focusing over nationalism in contemporary world, especially India. And at last, we will focus over the digital world and nationalism. So nationalism developed in Europe during 19th century as a force that has swept through the Europe after French Revolution specifically. When we talk about nationalism and nation state, so what is nation state here? So nation state is then we can also say that it is a geographical boundary or a boundary, a state where majority of citizens develop a sense of common identity on the basis of shared history or descent. This commonness did not exist from time since memorial. It is developed from the top by a political power or even from the base by the people itself. But when we talk about nationalism, it is something, a feeling of oneness, a love and bond towards the nation. It is a situation when a particular group of people started thinking that their secular interests are similar, which is political, social, and economic interest. This is the general definition that we all know what is nationalism and what is nation state. Now, moving towards the history of what is nationalism, start with the idea of primordialism, which was given basically by Edward Shields and Clifford Grace. So nationalism, according to them, is a natural and inevitable related to a blood tie or a geographical tie. The best example is of Napoleon. Napoleon Bonaparte was born in Corsica, the island of Italy, which was bought by France. Now, being born on the island of Italy, bought by France, he became a French citizen, even being the native of Italy. So this shows that how previously the idea of nationalism is very crude and very lucid. But modern scholars has criticized this idea because they said that this is an modern idea that cannot be understood on the idea of medieval features. So what we understand that nationalism is a modern trait. That idea began with Renaissance and Enlightenment and achieved its culmination with the help of capitalism, industrialization, and further by socialism. Therefore, to understand this, we will talk about the modern scholars, majorly Benedict Anderson, Eric Hobsbawm, and elder of all, Ernest Gellner. There is a disclaimer before I start that all these models by the scholars has specific context of Europe. They are sitting in the Europe and talking about a particular time period that is concerned with the Europe. Although they try to universalize their ideas, but we should keep in mind their limitations of being in a particular space of Europe. Beginning with Benedict Anderson and his work Imagined Communities, he defined nation as an anthropological spirit, as it is an imagined political community and imagined as both inherently limited and sovereign. Now, why he called it imagination? Because even if the country is too small, like Vatican City, every member of the society is unaware of the other, but he is connected with some particular tie. According to Benedict Anderson, it is language. For instance, जैसा कि मैं आपको फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको बताऊं, तो अगर आप किसी जगह काम कर रहे हैं तो ये पॉसिबल नहीं है कि आप उस जगह काम कर रहे हर एक व्यक्ति को पर्सनली जानते हो, पर फिर भी अगर आप बाहर उससे कहीं मिलेंगे तो आपका जो उसके तरफ बॉन्ड होगा वो ज्यादा क्लोज होगा. This is how it is imagined. Now, imagined on the features of three things, that is limited, sovereign, and community. When we talk about limited, it is related to the boundary concept. One nation is confined to its boundary only. As ma'am has already said, and Samriddhi has also said, that sometimes nationalism has become the feeling that provoke us against each other, with the concept of irredentism, which is more frequently seen in European context. Now, when we talk about sovereignty, so sovereignty is something which is coming as a modern idea with the concept of people's sovereign of Rousseau and John Locke. So this is how the sovereignty is something imagined, because the community being sovereign, unaware of the situation that is going on at the political level. Some means it is in the context of Europe only. Now, community. Now, this is something very much interesting. As Anderson argued that the community of any society consists of large-scale inequality. But when it comes to the nation, there is a horizontal comradeship among them. This shows that there is an imagination going to form a nation. Now, there is also one thing that we have to understand, that in the medieval Europe, we have a religious-based community and empire, like Ottoman Empire or Austrian Empire or Russian Empire. These are religious driven. When this connotation of religion with the development of modern ideas lose, it creates a vacuum in the European power space. This vacuum was fulfilled by nationalism, creating a sub-ethnic and ethnic nationalism within the Europe that we all today known as Eastern Christian. Now, moving towards his major idea. When we talk about Anderson's major idea, so he considered newspaper and print media as well as capitalism a major cause of nationalism because of three extraneous factors. First, change in the character of language, because now language has changed its base from being a sophisticated language to the regional language, from Latin to particularly French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, etc. Second, the impact of Reformation. So as we know that the successful reform in the Roman Catholic Church with the Protestant movement has not only revolved around the values of Christianity, but also given a space for the development of printing and capitalism, because it focused on not only regional languages, but also it has created a large scale demand of books and writings. Third, it is geographically uneven spread of vernacular. Now, vernacular in the vernacular in the Europe, it is spread all over the Europe, but uneven form, because it is possible that a person speaking a particular language, not living in the particular area whom he finds it decent. So this how, but they still feel a comradeship because of the printing capitalism, especially the newspaper. He said that the elevation of the vernacular to the status of the language of power has created a competition between the language and start becoming a base to create a nation. This language has created a national consciousness because of three reasons. First, unified field of exchange. Second, print capitalism. And second, print capitalism that has given a fixation to the language to become a language of power. And third, it created a language from an official administration use to the language to create nation on the basis of ideas. So these three factors cumulated to create a nationalism, a feeling of nationalism, which has fostered the European nations to become a nation that we see today. So when we conclude Anderson, we find that nation does not pre-exist. Rather, it is a production of modern ideas, capitalism, print, which takes it to the level of becoming a nation. According to Anderson, there is no historical ancient root to any nation, and it is a purely production of print capitalism, which has created a regional language into the question of power of vernacular language. Although he was criticized by Gopal Balakrishnan in Mapping of the Nation, saying that a language can not only become a basis to create a nation, because sometimes we not only think about nation, we not only love our nation, but we sacrifice our life for the nation. So language is something cannot be considered as a unit only. Now talking about Eric Hobsbawm. Eric Hobsbawm, in his work Invented Tradition, he focuses over the tradition and the development of nation. According to him, nationalism is the ideology where political and national units should coincide. He defined nation in a top-down approach where ideas are invented at the top and imposed on the base. Now, what does mean as top-down? So what does top-down means? According to him, the tradition has, even having a base below, get its cultural root, its identity at the top. But according to him, base is also important, not only because it creates a popular support, but here only the nationalism takes the revolutionary mood. Now, to understand this, we have to understand the phases of nationalism. When we talk about phases of nationalism, there are three phases of nationalism, that is preliminary phase, pioneering phase, and mass support phase. At first phase, we find that the ideas of nation is purely imagination, means the idea only. We just think of creating a nation. When we come to pioneering state, we find that now the political awareness by the political organization or the people has started creating a base on the ground. And then with the mass support, a revolution has taken place. Now, the best example to understand this concept is from the unification of Italy. When we talk about unification of Italy, the Chancellor of Piedmont Sardinia, Cavour, along with Mazzini and Garibaldi, etc., has the idea to create a nation. To create a nation, he took the help of the France because Piedmont Sardinia is not so powerful to fight against Austria. With the Treaty of Villafranca, French breached the trust of Cavour, and Cavour, the unification of Italy was disrupted. Then Cavour added a statement. He said that they stopped me, means French people and French government and Austrian government, they stopped me to create a nation from the north with diplomacy. I will create a nation from the south with revolution. So now the preliminary idea of creating a nation has become a pioneering idea of creating a large scale base, and Cavour worked over it. He particularly created a newspaper targeting the unification of Italy, as well as he gave his views through the pamphlets, creating a revolution. And in 1871, finally, Italy got unified by the pioneering state and then to the mass. Now, this is how the phases of nationalism can be seen in the formation of Europe. That is why I said that these scholars are specifically talking about European context. Now, the invented tradition need to be digged more. These are the invented tradition are purely material idea. As they're invented of top, they need to gain a popular support from the ground. So these invented tradition must be the accepted rules and rituals of a symbolic nature, inculcating certain values, norms, or behavior that are immediately defining that community. Because we will find people need to believe that this tradition is our tradition. So they need to be shown as a continuity with the past. Now, when we talk about the nationalism and its movement, we find that various nations has tried to become a nation, but they failed. Now, along with all this, they need three things more. That is historical association on the basis of economic background and prosperity. Economic background and prosperity when you are fighting to become a nation, as well as when you are tracing your back. So, economy is something more important to create a nation. Second, a long established cultural tradition, because you need to create a nation, a culture that is imposed from the above. And third, the capacity for conquest. As we know that we are talking about the European context in the transition period where wars are happening at large scale due to colonialism and imperialism. So therefore, when I conclude Hobsbawm, so according to Hobsbawm, nation is something constructed by its history, which is imposed up from the above. And therefore, the powerful statement that has been given by Eric Hobsbawm is, nation without a past are contradiction in terms. What makes a nation is the past, and what justifies one nation against other is past. And historians are the people who produce it. Now, talking about our last and the earliest among the nationalist scholars, that is Ernest Gellner. So when I talk about Ernest Gellner takes the development of nationalism with the development of industrialization. According to him, with the development of industrialization, there's an imposition of high culture on society, replacing local, low, multiculturalism, which is there in the medieval society. For him, it began with the change from the feudal agro-literate society to the advanced industrial society. Agro-literate society is a society of feudal nature, a medieval nature with a stable technology, and a Malthusian condition developed here. Malthusian condition is a typical condition where, as we know, that in Europe, Renaissance, then after Enlightenment, and then we see the development of scientific revolution. So जब scientific revolution हो गया, उसके बाद the diseases, the level of the rate of diseases decreases and the rate of population increases. अब rate of population increase हो रहा है, but technological development is stable, so the production of food is stable. In this context, what we see कि यहाँ पे हमारे पास storehouse है, but because medieval trade of birth-based privileges, there the access of storehouse is on the basis of rank. First thing, in Malthusian condition. Second, in Malthusian condition, there is a low productivity. Third, there is an exclusive evaluation of other coercive power and the status, and no reward for the productive innovation. Means the productive innovation is happened with the help of middle class intelligentsia or middle class people. These are not recognized. We had a lot of example of the scientists who are bulleted at that period of time. So this is how this Malthusian condition become restrictive. If this is restrictive, then revolution will happen against it. Revolution will happen. Now the coup will, it's like a coup. And from agro-literate society, we came to the industrial society. Now advanced industrial society has the principle of legitimacy, economy, and nationality. Now here we come with the two things, innovation and growth, and production of resources and output, and second, production of culture as well. According to Ernest Gellner, with industrialization, there is a uniform homogenization and creation of universal pervasive culture, which is imposed by universal education system, and through this we organize a society in a broad cultural origin, creating a base over which a nation is created. So, a high culture in an orderly, standardized system of idea, serviced and imposed with the help of education and writing, create a nation. And this institute has been preconditioned with the idea of employment, legal, and moral duty of citizen towards a nation. In his book, he gave an example that a human being in the industrialized period become a product, means a raw material in very good sense, raw material as an input, which is processed through this circle, and then as an output, he came out as what the society and the nation want. So this is how we can consider all our major European scholars who were talking about the development of nationalism in the Europe, because for the Europe, everything good has begun in their context, and that one of the good ideas of nationalism that according to them has begun with them only. Although they were unable to explain or digest the development of Indian nationalism. But before coming to Indian nationalism, I will like to show you some poster paintings and allegory which you can relate with Indian nationalism further on. This is the allegory of Mother Mariana. She is mother of France. And this is of Germania. She is mother of Germany. Just like we have Bharat Mata, so they are Mariana and Germania. And these are the posters and the photos that are developed during the period of nationalism in Europe. This all are basically used at large scale, as told by Benedict Anderson, to create a feeling of nationalism. This is the poster which shows the fall of Germania, rise of Germania, and through Germania, it is an allegory which creates an emotion among the people to protect its nation, to talk about its nation. So these allegories are not only to define your identity, but also to provoke you to do something for your nation and against another nation, especially in the context of Germany, it is against France. Now, we will focus over India and its sui generis nationalism. So when we talk about Indian nationalism, how it is different from European nationalism. How? In the Europe, they basically focus over a uniform idea and a uniform identity. But when we talk about India, there is no uniform idea and not a uniform identity. How? We will understand this further. Now, when we talk about modern nationalism, so modern nationalism, as we know, it began in Africa, America, and Asia, developing a various large-scale nation consisting of 193 nations today. And these modern nation has begun with the idea of colonialism, because having a diversity, they unite against a single enemy, that is colony. So when we talk about America, Africa, and Asia, Southeast Asia specifically, so they form a nation on the basis of colonialism. But when we see India, then we understand that initially it looks an immediate impact of colonialism, means development of nationalism as an immediate impact of colonialism. But for nation with diversity, holding strong feeling of unity is not a modern phenomenon. Because if enemy has gone, a country with huge diversity will disintegrate. But this has not been happened. India is integrated today and at the past, from the time since memorial and since today, and also in the future. So, to holding this diversity, it seems like it is not a modern phenomenon, but ancient generational upbringing. So our nationalism is something ancient generational upbringing. As India is not just a nation or a state, but a civilizational state. Our nation, time since memorial, championed the idea of ekam sat bahuda vadanti, means कि एक ही सत्य है, उसको बोलने के कई तरीके हो सकते हैं. तो जब हम इस आइडिया को चेरिश करेंगे, then only we cherish the diversity. जब हम इस आइडिया को चेरिश करेंगे कि एक ही लैंग्वेज है, मेरा ही लैंग्वेज सुपीरियर है, then we don't then we are unable to cherish the idea of diversity that is faulty in the European nationalism we found something. If we talk about European context and nation, so there are two things. First, a defined territorial identity. Second, with uniformity. So in India, there is a territorial grace, not only in present, but it can be traced back in the past with Rig Veda, as it was explained, the Bharatvarsha and its position, As well as in Vishnu Puran, there is a geographical development and the location of Bharatvarsha. But when we talk about Europe, when we are nation in the sense of what we are today, the Europe does not even exist at that period of time, or they are in very primordial condition. Secondly, when we talk about uniformity, so I have a beautiful line that says, हिंद देश के निवासी हैं, सभी एक हैं, रंग रूप भेष भाषा चाहे अनेक है. Because our roots, which can be understood by the idea of Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, Swami Vivekanand, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, Gandhi ji, Sri Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Netaji, Bhagat Singh ji, Chandrasekhar Azad ji, or even in the past with Chanakya and Adi Shankaracharya. We will understand a huge definition of nationalism in the context of India. Beginning with Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, I will be focusing over three major ideas of Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, Swami Vivekanand, and Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. So, beginning with Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, he was considered not only as a he was a modern Indian scholar, a philosopher, an intellectual, as well as he is someone who has enlightened our Indian values at the various platforms. He viewed nationalism is not just a political movement, but as a religious faith, emphasizing as a divine nature of motherland and a spiritual awakening of nation. For Aurobindo, nationalism is not just thinking about a nation. For him, nationalism is thinking about the whole humanity. So, when we talk about nation, we will not only talk about nation, we will talk about what we say in our G20 presidency: one nation, one world, one future, and one family. Means Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So this is the idea that we have developed with a period of time, creating a nation and embracing the diversity. Now, when we talk about Swami Vivekanand said, "The soil of India is my highest heaven. The good of India is my good." Now, this idea is something very secular and creating a secular interest among us all. For Swami Vivekanand, nationalism is deeply rooted in Indian spirituality and morality. He linked India's regeneration to her age-old tradition of spiritual goal. He said, this is the major statement that has made by Swami Vivekanand about not only about the nation, that is India only, but every nation in this world can have the blessing of this world. That each nation has a destiny to fulfill, each nation has a message to deliver, each nation has a mission to accomplish. Therefore, we must have to understand the mission of our own race, the destiny it has to fulfill, the place it has to occupy in the march of this nation, the role which it has to contribute to the harmony of races. And when we talk about our destiny, the goal that we have to fulfill is not only, it is not of conflict, it is not of fulfilling our own aspiration. It is because of our Indian roots, because of our ancient roots, we will find that our aspiration is to fulfill the aspiration of the world, that is to serve humanity. That is why our nationalism is something connected to spiritualism or universalism. क्योंकि जब हम यूरोप की बात करेंगे तो मैं आपको गुसी भी मजीनी का आइडिया बताती हूँ, कहते हैं कि अगर आप अपने नेशन के एस्पिरेशन को सर्व कर रहे हो तो आप ह्यूमैनिटी के एस्पिरेशन को सर्व कर रहे हो. बट इन इंडिया नेशन का एस्पिरेशन और ह्यूमैनिटी का एस्पिरेशन कभी अलग होता ही नहीं है. क्यों? क्योंकि जब हम नेशन के लिए काम कर रहे होते तो इनडायरेक्टली वी आर फोस्टरिंग द यूनिवर्सल आइडियाज. अगर हम नेशन के लिए सेल्फलेस होकर सोचेंगे तो हम विश्व के लिए भी सेल्फलेस होकर ही सोचेंगे. जब हम अपने लिए सेल्फिश होकर सोचेंगे तो हम दूसरों के लिए भी सेल्फिश होकर ही सोचेंगे. दिस इज व्हाट हैज क्रिएटेड द बेस ऑफ इंडियन नेशनलिज्म. दैट इज व्हाई वी आर स्टिल can hold the idea of the unity in diversity. Similarly, Dr. Radhakrishnan has said that nationalism is a political religion which steers the heart and wills of men and rouses them to service and self-sacrifice in a way that no purely religious movement done in the recent time. So he said that nation is something above every community identification. So there is a comradeship between the nation. We don't first have to identify ourselves as something else. We first have to identify ourselves as a nation. Now, what does it all ideas mean? If I summarize, so
Manita, I'm extremely sorry to interrupt you in the middle of your presentation, but we are also running, with a short of time. So we would like to request you to complete your ideas
yes,
by just, wind it up a bit fast in like 3 to 4 minutes.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
please go ahead. Yes.
Yes. If I summarize, so I can say that our nationalism is serving not only the nation but all whole humanity with the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The idea only culminates to empower India to embrace unity in diversity, tracing from Indian national movement to recent Operation Sindoor. We all have united against all odds because our nationalism has very deep root without any conflict that inflict over other. With this, I also little bit touch over the digital world and nationalism, a little bit focusing over this. So when we talk about digital world and nationalism, what we have to focus, the digital worlds have opened the Pandora box of imagination, a world that not only creating your idea but shaping your idea. तो डिजिटल वर्ल्ड कर क्या रहा है, ये आपको एक प्लेटफॉर्म दे रहा है, एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म दैट इज लिमिटलेस, जहाँ पे आप अपने आइडियाज को पोस्ट कर सकते हो, लिख सकते हो और दूसरों के आइडियाज को ले सकते हो. तो ये नेशनलिज्म को ना ही सिर्फ शेप कर रहा है बट ऑल्टर कर रहा है, उसको और स्ट्रिंजेंट कर रहा है, उसको रिजेक्ट कर रहा है. जो लूसिड होना चाहिए था, जो कमावेशी होना चाहिए था, दूसरों को जोड़ने वाला होना चाहिए था, उसको सम टाइम रेडिकल कर रहा है. और ऐसा हो क्यों रहा है? बिकॉज ऑफ द फोकस, बिकॉज द डिजिटल वर्ल्ड समटाइम even the digital world become corrupt. For the recent example that is happening with the growth or the various developing of AI. So we need to be understandable when we talk about digital world and nationalism, and also the consciousness of how nationalism is not only shaping our identities, not only shaping our views, but it is also something which we can trace from the back, and we need not only to take it today but also to carry it for the future and for the future generation. So this must be more comprehensible, more universal. Means it is not said that ki universal in the sense of idea, in the sense of the idea that India always promote Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So here I will end with my presentation. Thank you very much for patiently listening.
Thank you so much, Manita, for that excellent presentation. And definitely, आपने सारे points cover किए. And what was more impressive was the fact that you have simplified this concept a lot for many of the people, here among us today. तो काफी graduates ऐसे होंगे maybe यहाँ पे, who might have got the foundational ideas of how nationalism has evolved over the years, over the centuries. So with that being said, I would now quickly move on to the Q&A session. We have 3 questions, but I'll merge them and form them as 2 because we have the shortage of time. So the
Yes.
first question is a blend of what Miss Manvi and Mr. Shubham have asked you. So the question could be blended as, so how do you think nationalism will adapt to emerging challenges or the emerging aspects of climate change, of global governance, and the future international relations? So what do you think about it?
Okay. So when we think in this question, I will answer the question in 2 parts. First, in the context of international relation, and second, in the context of climate change. तो जब हम climate change की बात कर रहे हैं, तो when we talk about climate, तो climate is more than the nationalism. क्योंकि climate is not कि अच्छा आप इंडियन है तो मैं आपको परेशान नहीं करूंगा, आप यूरोपियन है, आप फ्रांस के हैं तो मैं आपको परेशान करूंगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. तो ऐसे क्या है कि जब हम बात कर रहे हैं किसकी, जब हम बात कर रहे हैं क्लाइमेट चेंज की, तो वो बाउंड्रीलेस है, वो यूनिवर्सल फिनोमिना है, यूनिवर्सल नीड है. इसमें हम CBDR का कॉन्सेप्ट लेकर आएंगे कि कॉमन बट डिफरेंशिएटेड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. जो पहले रिस्पॉन्सिबल है उसको अपना कुछ ज्यादा दायित्व निभाना है, और जो बाद में रिस्पॉन्सिबल है उसको थोड़ा कम दायित्व निभाना है। अब यहाँ पे नेशनलिज्म जो है वो काम क्या करते हैं, वो सेपरेटिज्म का काम करते हैं। नेशनलिज्म जैसे आप मागा, द अमेरिकन नोटेशन ऑफ मागा, मेकिंग अमेरिका ग्रेट अगेन। अब ये जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो कर क्या रहे हैं, वो बेसिकली अमेरिका को क्लाइमेट चेंज से दूर कर रहे हैं, जबकि अमेरिका इज द लार्जेस्ट स्टेक होल्डर इन द क्लाइमेट चेंज। तो अगर ऐसे कंट्रीज दूर हो जाएंगे तो प्रॉब्लम कहाँ क्रिएट होगी, मिटिगेशन में क्रिएट होगी। और प्रॉब्लम होगी किसको, सबसे पहले लीस्ट डेवलप कंट्रीज को, और जो आइलैंड नेशंस हैं, या फिर इंडिया, क्योंकि कोस्टल आइलैंड्स हैं, और इंडिया में तो प्रॉब्लम हो भी रही है विद द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, हम देख रहे हैं। तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जब हम नेशनलिज्म की बात करेंगे क्लाइमेट चेंज के बेसिस पे, तो वी मस्ट हैव अ कोऑपरेटिव सेंस। जो मैंने अभी कहा आपको, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम वाली आदत होनी चाहिए ना, कि मेरे परिवार में एक आदमी को चोट लग रही है तो कल को मुझे भी चोट लग सकती है ना, वो जो पत्थर है वहां पे, अगर वो गिर रहा है तो मैं भी तो गिरूंगी ना कभी ना कभी। तो जब हम ऐसी बात कर रहे हैं तो वी हैव अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, वन वन वर्ल्ड वन फ्यूचर। पर जब हम इंटरनेशनल रिलेशनशिप की बात करेंगे तो यहाँ पे हमें थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में भी सोचना चाहिए, क्योंकि हम इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन में, जैसे कि अभी रिसेंट सिचुएशन चल रहा है कि नेटो ने हमें सेकेंडरी टैरिफ का धमकी दिया है, तो हमें यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा कॉन्शियस होना चाहिए कि इन इंटरनेशनलिज्म वी आर द सोवरेन नेशन। एज अ सोवरेन नेशन मेरे पास राइट है कि मैं किसके साथ ट्रेड करूं या किसके साथ ट्रेड ना करूं। और जैसा कि हमारे मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फ्यूल के जो मिनिस्टर है उन्होंने बोला भी कि इंडिया हैज राइट, और अपने पीपल की जो एनर्जी रिसोर्सेज को रिजर्व करने का राइट है हमारे पास। नॉट ओनली इंडिया, चाहे वो नेशंस अफ्रीकन नेशन हो, साउथ ईस्टर्न नेशन हो, इवन चाइना ही क्यों ना हो, सबके पास राइट है कि वो अपने सोवेरेनिटी को दिखाए। आप टैरिफ के थ्रू ट्रेड या फिर अदर्स चीजों का इफेक्ट नहीं कर सकते। इवन दो अगर हम देखें जो इजराइल पैलेस्टीन कॉन्सेप्ट है, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है, या इजराइल का इराक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है, या फिर यूक्रेन रशियन, तो उसमें हम अगर अपना स्टैंड एज अ एब्स्टेन ले रहे हैं तो हम अपनी पॉलिसी एज अ सॉवरेन फॉरेन पॉलिसी अपना रहे हैं, तो इसमें किसी को प्रॉब्लम नहीं होना चाहिए। So they are two different things. When we talk about climate change, this is a boundaryless thing. But when we talk about international relation, so this is something related to nation only, and as a nation, we have a sovereign right.
All right, Manita, very well answered. I'll take one last question that was asked in the chat box by Miss Srishti Rajput, and she is asking, so can the distinction between civic and ethnic nationalism be maintained in practice, or does it collapse under the realities of exclusion, discrimination, and cultural dominance? So what are your quick views about this?
Yes. So when we talk about civic nationalism and ethnic nationalism, so I already told you that when we talk about European formation of nation, it is basically on ethnic lines and the language lines, especially the East. तो जब हम इनकी क्वेश्चन को जवाब दे रहे हैं कि civic nationalism is the broad sense, उसके अंदर ethnic diversity आ सकती है, language diversity, कोई भी तरह की diversity आ सकती है। हाँ, अब ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सिटीजन की हो जाती है, दैट वाइब्रेंट सिविल सोसाइटी की हो जाती है, एज वेल एज गवर्नमेंट की हो जाती है, कि वो जो एथनिक गैप्स एंड डिवाइड्स एंड रीजनल डिविजन्स है उसको, उसके गैप को जो है वो कम करे, ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हो जाती है। लेकिन जब हम बात नेशन की कर रहे हैं तो जैसा कि इंडियन नेशनलिस्ट लीडर्स ने बोला है, या फिर इंडियन नेशनल मूवमेंट में सबने बोला, चाहे वो गांधी जी से लेके वो बाल गंगाधर तिलक हो, मॉडरेट से लेके एक्सट्रीमिस्ट्स हो, रेवोल्यूशनरीज हो, तो व्हाट इज गुड फॉर आवर कंट्री इज गुड फॉर मी, ये वाला कॉन्सेप्ट होना चाहिए। ऑल दो जो एथनिक रीजनल डिफरेंसेस हैं वो अगर हाईलाइट हो रहे हैं तो उसको एड्रेस करने की जो आइडिया है वो भी गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज में होनी चाहिए, और पीपल का भी उतना ही योगदान होना चाहिए, क्योंकि दे आर ऑल्सो क्रिएटिंग अवर नेशन। पहली चीज। दूसरी चीज, इंडिया में ये चीजें देखने को इसलिए मिलेंगी क्योंकि हम एक साथ जुड़ रहे हैं, हम बोल रहे हैं। यूरोप में इस चीजों में अब आप इसका एग्जांपल लो कि जब एथनिक नेशनलिज्म सिविक नेशनलिज्म से ज्यादा हो जाएगा तो प्रॉब्लम क्या आएगी, प्रॉब्लम आएगी जो ईस्टर्न क्वेश्चन में, जो बाल्टिक नेशन आज फेस कर रहा है वो यही प्रॉब्लम है। उनके प्रॉब्लम में क्या हुआ, उनके यहाँ सिविक नेशनलिज्म जो है उससे ज्यादा परफ्यूम एथनिक नेशनलिज्म हो गया, और वो छोटे 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 देशों में बट गए, एंड दे आर स्टिल फेसिंग द प्रॉब्लम। तो अगर हम बात करें तो जब नेशन की बात आ रही है तो हमें नेशन के साथ खड़ा होना है। यस, अगर आपको प्रॉब्लम है तो वी आर द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल नेशन, वी हैव अ पार्लियामेंट, हमें उस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल तरीके से अपने आप को प्रोटेस्ट करना है, अपने राइट्स को उठाना है। तो दिस इज
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Manita, for that excellent Q&A session. We have one last very quick question. We also have the paucity of time. So, what was your experience with the platform? So, how did you find working with the GSTS? How was your experience?
the experience is good. The means from being a part of it till today, जो पूरा ट्रांजिशन तो बहुत ही स्मूथ था, मुझे कोई भी अपडेशन में भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं आई. स्पेशली सर डॉक्टर मनीष करमवार सर, ही इज सो सपोर्टिव. और आप लोग ने जो प्री मीट में आइडियाज दिया है, इनकलकेटेड इट. और उसके बाद आई फील कि जो कमियां थी मेरे प्रोजेक्ट में वो और ज्यादा अच्छे से उभर के, मतलब बहुत अच्छे से ठीक हो गई. सो आई फील इट very comfortable and expressive, as well as I thanks GSTS for giving me this opportunity, and I will love to continue with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manita. It was also a pleasure for us to have you on the platform, and we would also like you to, keep your presence intact throughout our upcoming sessions as well. So, congratulations for your talk. And moving further, I would now again like to invite our honorable chief guest for the session. So, Dr. Chani, I would like to invite you again to take your insights, suggestions concerning Manita's talk, and also for our platform. So, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ramitji. Manita, it was a wonderful presentation, I must say. And I was very happy to see how you structured your presentation and tried to cover each and aspect of nationalism. Like if we see, we have transition, how you brought out the idea, like how it was introduced. Then you talked about various scholars, Benedict Anderson, that is like one of my favorite scholars when we speak of imagined communities. Because, we may not see every people around us in our country, but then we still feel connected. Why? Because of the ideas of nationalism, the shared symbols, stories, histories, beliefs that we have. So I really liked that you covered all this. Then we heard about the traditional national identity, the other aspect that was brought out through the rich history, culture, and sometimes it was lost and ignored. And you also talked about digital age, the nationalism, how it has shaped by the internet. And sometimes we also see that, how powerful the nationalism could be, and it is turning out in the negative way. So it was really wonderful, and the focus also shifted to the national thinkers. Indian perspective was brought out, but that was wonderful. So I really like, because it was not just limited to the idea from where it really originated, but also you covered how Swami Vivekananda thought that, the real strength come from serving people, knowing our true self. Then you spoke about Dr. Arvind Ghosh, then Dr. Radha Krishnan. So it all reminded us of the time that, it's not just about respecting and learning from our differences, but also talking about going beyond boundaries. So can we think really that, if we build the nation that includes everyone, no matter the religion, language, or the background, so can we build on that sense of nation? Also, do you think that, can we make sure that the digital world that we are a part of now, that is bringing us closer, or is it like keeping us apart? And most importantly, I feel that, can we carry forward a kind of nationalism that is not just about talking about it and not feeling about it, the values, ideas, and compassion. So should it be limited, or should it expand and cover the boundaries? Like many questions that was asked, also I found it very much relevant, and you very well defended it in terms of how, climate change and international relations, because they don't create a boundary, and everybody is going to be affected. And when we are in this globalization and we talk about it, there is no country which is living in isolation. So I think the nationalism, idea of a nationalism, is not restricted at one place. Rather, it is a transitional thing which goes beyond a boundary. So the sense of identity and how you associated with various examples, I really liked, Manita. So wonderful, wonderful, and many, many congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha. This kind of interaction with the scholars, and to hear them speak about a particular concept from their perspective, it was a wonderful session for me. Thank you so much, and all the best, Manita. You are doing good.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. And the most important fact is your presence. And definitely, you have given some new insights to Manita as well to work upon. And again, we would like to thank you for being a part of this session. So, proceeding further, it was time to invite our upcoming speaker, but because of some personal misfortune, she is not able to join us today for the session. Therefore, I would now like to hand over the stage to Dr. Manish Karmawar. So, sir, over to you for the concluding remarks.
Okay, thank you, Samriddhi, and thank you, Manita. So, before my concluding remarks and vote of thanks, I would like to invite Akriti, a faculty member at Shyam Lal Evening College, evening for very quick remarks on the topic and platform. So, I think
Thank you so much, sir.
Akriti with the pit dog with her. Huh? Yeah, go ahead, Akriti. Yeah, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So, sir, what should I say? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to sound biased, but Manita is my student. She's one of the brilliant minds I have come across in my teaching journey. She's brilliant. So I love everything, whatever she said, and I really like the fact that how Chandni ma'am has, concluded it and contextualized this topic. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Manisa, you're muted.
Okay. I think Jha sir is also here. So I can invite Professor Jha. Now he is in shifted to Patna. Sir, are you here? So want to say something? Oh, maybe my voice. Yeah,
Thank,
sir.
thank you, Manish. Even coming to Patna, I'm so much impressed by your this effort that new research scholars are coming with new ideas and we are sharing with them. Thank you, Manish. Very good effort.
And thank you, man. And the last for the 30-second remarks, I will call Dr. Ritu, ma'am. And yesterday evening, she messaged me, Manish, today is Sunday and we are not into the GSTS. So that was surprising me because yesterday was Saturday. So Ritu, ma'am, what's your opinion about this young scholar? Ritu, ma'am, are you here? Okay. Hello. Okay, maybe it's fine. So, final remarks, not as final because on nationalism, no one is the final authority on the nationalism, etc., etc. But the two or three things are very interesting because Anderson, Ernest, and Hobsbawm, we had a last 30 years almost, the same was happening. These three young scholars, that means young Anderson, still they are young and still we are surrounded by these three important ideas, though we had so many new work on the nationalism. So the importance of these three scholars, maybe the modern nationalism, and Manita, you have put forward a whole idea into very crisp way. That means those who are in undergraduates, postgraduates, or even me, I refresh my whole idea through your journey, through your how you inducted these three, and after that, the Indian nationalism. Though little bit here and there, some points we have to include. Just like Dr. Chandni also mentioned few things, and but firstly the interesting thing because I have 120 seconds left. So you talk about the digital nationalism. That was one of my favorite idea. So now these days after COVID or before COVID, we are looking to the digital embassy, digital high commissions, and a digital coup and digital Duta protest in all the Delhi University. So this is really interesting the how digital nationalism is going to serve the nation and the country. Because yesterday I'm also talking about the Burkina Faso, how in Burkina Faso everything was settled and suddenly a news came out through the social media that the Burkina Faso got a coup. This is a social media eruption. So right now, it's what the digital Pan-Africanism or digital nationalism or digital study, whether it's going to hamper us or our whole generation, young generation, because everybody is having the young scholars around him or her. So this is important to see how digital nationalism is going to work. And the second thing you are mentioning very prominently, कि environment नहीं देखता है कि फ्रांस और जर्मनी में क्या हो रहा है और इंडिया में क्या हो रहा है. So that was very important. And how the West crafted all these things. Carbon credit. So what is this? This is the another kind of pseudo nationalism. Suppose that you are doing the things and put all those ideas to the third world or the so-called poor country. No country is poor. They are trying to create poorness amongst us because everybody has their own ideas. Suppose that one using cycle and I'm using car. So I don't think so. The cycle user is a poor. It's a choice. Maybe sometimes it is a choice in the coming times everybody is going to use that bicycle to for health. So these are the things, and the carbon credit, it's a very interesting thing to work upon and to understand carbon credit, a tool of environmental imperialism. I'm not so fond about the concept, about the theory, because in the area study, firstly we deconstruct the theory and we create our own theory. This is the norm of the area studies. I'm in the area studies department. I'm not so much fond about these kind of ideas because the whole generation came out from the 100 people. That means in Africa long back, and John Leakey gives us a whole sense about the generation, the population emergence from the Africa and spread the everywhere. So this 100 people created everything, and now we are distributed among self in the west, east, north, and south, and this geopolitics and that. But again, our mentality is same. That's why uh, Chandni and that Manita, both are the different places. One is in Pune and one is in Delhi. So somehow they connect because their idea is similar. Not only that Chandni and Pandey. So Benedict Anderson gives a imagined community. Gives somehow I love that theory, but without knowing anyone, we can connect, and this is the very wrong to connect everyone only for we imagine and we connect the things. So this is my request to young scholars. Though these three are very pertinent, but you can define your own scholarship and come out with the new ideas, and that's why the area studies or the other studies we inculcated. So again, this is not my lecture room. So thank you very much, Manita Pandey, for giving us a wonderful idea about the nationalism. I also understood so many things because it's long that we taught in our classes, but one place it's a very good little bit nuances that one place you told us the Africa is a modern nationalism. I don't think so. Africa having the modern nationalism, they're very old civilization that just like the India, but the West implanted the modern nationalism in Africa, and what is going on we are looking forward, and India also. And the second thing, Sama Prasad Mukherjee must be mentioned when we mention about the modern nationalism. So these two things, otherwise you're phenomenal. So thank you very much. And as usually, Dr. Chandni, you're giving the icing on the cake. So very precise, but to the point. So thank you very much, Dr. Chandni and Miss Manita Pandey, and all my faculty members from the different departments, my scholars, undergrads, postgrads, MPhil, and PhD. And really, it's a fantastic or finest evening we ever had. So thank you very much. And also moderator. Samriddhi Kandpal and her journey with us from last 4 years. She joined us in 2022, and we have started 2021, 7 February 2021. It's a long 5 years, and she has completed her graduation, masters, and now teaching also, but she is with us, and most of the moderators with us. They are doing so many other works, but they are still with us, and we are doing somehow a good work for ourselves. It's not for only the scholars or the teachers. We are doing for ourselves to learn and unlearn so many things. So thank you very much again. With these words, I'm going to wrap up this for this evening. We'll definitely will come next Sunday with the new ideas, and this is the challenge. Even we do not know about who is going to speak 230. We know about the 231, 232, but suddenly one drop out in 230. So this is how we are working. Our undergraduate students, they sometimes stop their mobile to that we do not connect to them to ask, come, this is your turn, 230th. So this is a challenge for GSTS also sometimes, but you people keep coming and keep doing good things. Thank you very much for Shyam Lal Evening College also for giving me this opportunity. Okay, so it's time to leave. Thank you, Chandni, Dr. Chandni, and thank you. The day
sir.
is
Thank you so much.
like the start of the day, Miss Manita Pandey.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day. Have a nice day to all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.